this, and then I'll lean forward.
What's up, everyone? America, you got this. We're here with Lauren and friends, who is in, where are you, Lauren?
We are in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm going to lean forward really quick because I want to make sure we're going live on Instagram too. Yep, hitting it. And there we go. We're live everywhere.
Substack, live on Instagram, yes. America, you got this Instagram, Lauren's Instagram, my Instagram. But what matters is not what's happening online, what's happening in the real world on the ground. So tell me, what's going on? What are you guys doing there?
I have the privilege of being able to share space this morning with some new friends that I've made from the Equity Alliance, Shetika and Mariah, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and talk about the work that they're doing. It's so incredibly important here in Tennessee. So I'm going to pass the mic and let them each do a little intro.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Mariah Ragland. I'm the social media coordinator with Equity Alliance.
I'm Shetika Davis. I am the Childcare Liaison with policy initiatives with the Equity Alliance.
So the Equity Alliance has been around since 2016. We're in Nashville, Memphis, and Clarksville. We're Tennessee's largest Black-led and women-run organization in Tennessee. We register over 150,000 voters. We focus on not only voter rights, but we also focus on childcare, workforce development, and feeding our people. We say we're from the trap house to the White House. And if you go to our Instagram page, you'll see some of the work that we've done. But Shetika can talk about the impact that we've had on her as well.
So I'm a veteran in-home childcare provider. There's crisis all around with childcare. And so the Equity Alliance was one of the organizations that felt my pain, wanted to stand beside me and support me through whatever challenges that I was going to try to make within the childcare field. So that's how I got partnered up with the Equity Alliance. So what they support me in doing is my Bridge Network, a statewide initiative that supports in-home childcare providers with the tools, resources that they need in order to become licensed. Because we have a lot of barriers that are keeping people from getting licensed and providing high quality childcare. So that's what the Bridge Network does, and that's what T supports the Bridge Network in doing.
Yeah, so we're supporting people and trying to transform the system and just making sure that we have a voice in what's going on.
And they are very, very good about getting the people that are in the trenches, that are on the ground, that are actually doing the work and supporting that work.
Well, childcare is such a huge piece of being able to be involved in what's happening in one's community. If you don't have the time or the funds to be able to make sure your kids are taken care of, I'm a mom, so I know what it's like. But then also, if you're not engaged civically, you're not able to create the world you want for your children. So we are less than 100 days out from the midterms. Can you talk about what the importance of this 1,000 miles to Memphis is and how you are engaging with people on the ground there?
Absolutely. So the vision of 1,000 miles to Memphis is we want to bring a lot of attention to the South and specifically to Tennessee because the Calais decision that happened with the Supreme Court has just really been stripping voting rights and access from communities in a way that could be catastrophic. And so that is largely what has led this initiative. And where I come in is I want to make sure that we're engaging with communities on the ground who are already doing that work, that are already connecting with folks who need support. But then there are just so many incredible leaders who are leading these types of initiatives and other sort of community-led efforts across the South. And so we are really trying to focus a lot of time and energy to highlight and learn more about their work and use our collective platforms. So we're bringing different content creators and people from media in and out. It's a 36-day journey. We're on day 3 and I've already lost my voice. So.
But your toenails, I hope, are still intact because I know there's going to be a lot of walking.
they're intact, but I need a pedicure in a way that I can't even begin to describe. That my toenail polish started peeling off last night, and I don't have anything to do it to fix it myself. It's just so pathetic. But it'll be fine. That's not my toes are my toes are going to be collateral damage. But so we're learning a lot, to be honest. And my friend Dawn, who we'll bring on later, will talk about some of the lessons we've learned in the last few days and how we're going to kind of pivot and adapt, because I think that part of it's really important. We don't want to come into spaces with okay, and this is what's happening, and this is what we're doing, and this is what you should do. I'm in your house right now. Like I'm gonna take my shoes off and I'm gonna ask for permission. I don't wanna come in and be a bull in a china shop when I go into a friend's home. So
But this is what coalition building looks like, the willingness to ask questions and to engage. What's it been like receiving, I'll give this question to Mariah, what has it been like receiving all of these incomers to your town and being able to kind of connect them and help them understand through your eyes what needs to happen?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I mean, this redistricting and everything is happening like throughout the South, and Tennessee definitely is impacted by that. So it's good to see people in Tennessee and just raising awareness of what's going on, but also taking action, organizing, mobilizing people as well. So welcome to Nashville.
Well, and obviously, Tennessee, Nashville, Memphis have all been in the news lately, whether it's extrajudicial killings by ICE or whether it's data centers. What are the main issues that people on the ground are wanting to see addressed in this upcoming midterms? What are they wanting to hear from candidates?
that's a great question. I don't know if either of you have
It depends on I think it depends on which region that you're in. So we're in Nashville, Memphis, and Clarksville, and everyone has their own unique issues. In Clarksville, I was canvassing this weekend, and they were addressing funding for like a Walmart, where that funds could have been somewhere else. They were talking about flood zones, houses getting flooded down there. Of course, Memphis has its own struggles as well, with the occupation still there. So it's really, every region has its own issues.
Is there a sense of urgency right now because of how everything has escalated?
I believe we're always in rapid response.
I feel the urgency, and I live in Chicago, and I feel the urgency being down here, and I feel it in the conversations. We haven't made it to Memphis yet, but in the conversations that we're having with organizers in Memphis about how we can show up most intentionally and thoughtfully in Memphis, and what we can do, because Chicago and Minneapolis got a lot of press coverage on occupation, and I feel like Memphis hasn't gotten the national attention that it needs, and how bad it actually is. And I think our audience probably mostly knows that I was very involved in Chicago efforts and Minneapolis mutual aid, and so bringing that into Memphis, I'm trying to be really thoughtful of, is the need really, do we need to focus on the mutual aid part? Do we need to focus on protecting communities in other ways? And then all of this, the backdrop of disenfranchising voters. And one of the things I've learned is that the transportation and access to voting. So it's not even necessarily the voters being registered themselves. They are registered. They just have made it so difficult to actually get to the polls and vote. So that's one of the initiatives that we want to help support, so that we can help folks get there. It's just, I think that people who look like me have absolutely no idea just how targeted and challenging Black and Brown communities, like what they are facing in these districts. So
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you and I are from the same area, ladies. I'm from outside of Chicago, and I feel like a lot of people are like, "Well, why would they have problems getting to the polls? You can just hop in your car, or you can." And the density of polling locations in suburban Chicago, I think, is very different than the density of voting locations in rural South. So, are you working with organizations like Souls to the Polls or anything like that? I'm so curious how those efforts are mobilizing, but also knowing that they're going to be trying to remove polling locations and shifting how and spreading disinformation about where polling locations are. What is the work on the ground there to try to ameliorate some of that?
Yeah, I would love to know
I'll say even with CD7 voting that happened, there was that redistricting that happened as well. And a lot of people in South Inglewood and Nashville showed up to the polls to vote. Like everyone was excited and pumped, and they were like, hold on, we can't vote right now. Like this isn't my district anymore. So it causes a lot of confusion. So we're trying to educate people, like know before you go, like where to vote. Early voting is happening right now in Tennessee, telling people like there is an election right now and telling people what the election is. So a lot of education is happening right now.
One of the things that I think is important that we need to shift our messaging collectively is that election day, that needs to be the last day. Like the last day to vote is this, and that whatever early voting is possible, I think to try to encourage that early voting so that we can identify any issues if they've pulled somebody off of the voter roll and they need to rerun. Like I think all of that education, it's just it is such a heavy lift, and I think that that's why national attention, like what we're trying to bring through 1,000 Miles to Memphis, is so important.
So Shetika, what's been the most surprising part about having people there who are trying to bring national attention? And maybe is there local media that is covering this, or do you feel like you're still having to scream for attention to try to get local media involved?
I think it's a balance. I think it depends on what is interesting to them and what would make newsworthy headlines to them. I think they have been doing a better job of trying to be on location when things are going on, but I still think that it needs to be more of a balance to get it out and heard.
Mm-hmm. And to that, I'll build on that a little. That's why the walking is happening. That's why we're doing so much walking, because that's the spectacle. That's what media is going to be like. Oh, that's interesting. A bunch of people going on 1,000 miles.
Right.
Like,
It's got to pique them. It's got to pique their interest. Yeah.
Strategy, honestly. It's amazing.
So, and today is an intentional break day, and we're actually going to be building these in more, these break days, so that we can focus on this kind of content and making sure that we're highlighting the orgs. The walking is the spectacle. The walking is what gets the attention nationally and otherwise. So, but also it brings, which Dawn and I will talk about in a minute, its own challenges. I mean, we just did a whole like wound care situation. We've got like I DoorDashed K tape for people who are injured.
Like kinesiology tape, like,
yeah.
Like wrapping. Okay. I mean, yes, it's physical, and I'm assuming it's hot. What's the temperature right now?
Hot.
It's 91 degrees.
Yes.
I'm
hot,
sorry, did
like
you say
no
91?
breathing air.
Did you say 91?
Yeah, we're on a heat advisory today. It's supposed to reach 91, so.
And that's not even like the heat index. Like
Right, that's not. And this is the morning, so we haven't even made it to noon.
I put on this sweater because I wanted to cover up my arms, and I immediately regretting it.
I was like, "What are you doing?" No, this is
Okay, it's back. All right.
weather
Okay.
right now. This is sports bra
This
weather.
is now OnlyFans.
You are definitely.
Whatever it takes to get the eyeballs on this, whatever it takes. So before we go to Dawn, I do want to find out what's the best way that people can support Equity Alliance? What's the best way people can get involved in walking if they're not already involved?
I would love to highlight Equity Alliance and have y'all speak to the best way that people can support you.
Yeah, y'all can tap in with T. That's what we call it, the Equity Alliance. Please follow us on Instagram, any social media that you're on. If you're not on social media, we're on the equityalliance.org. You can donate to our organization and help us keep going with our efforts that we're doing in Tennessee. Yeah, all socials and our website.
Absolutely.
And you can donate directly to the Equity Alliance. You can also donate to 1,000 Miles to Memphis, which Don and I will talk about a little bit more. So we want to drive donations directly to the orgs, and also the 1,000 Miles to Memphis donation initiative that is going to be going to orgs like Equity Alliance as well. So we're making sure that that the fundraising that we're doing as an initiative is going straight back to efforts like this, because that's what matters here. The spectacle is the attention, and the work is the critical mission that we need to keep our focus on. And I'm just so grateful for both of you.
Thank you
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for highlighting us. Thank you for everything y'all are doing. We're glad to be here right now.
Absolutely. And hopefully I'll see you tonight. We have an event in Murfreesboro, Tennessee tonight at 5 p.m. It's gonna be town hall style, where we'll invite people to speak. So we would love for Equity Alliance to be a part of that as well. And then we're gonna have links for people to register to vote, because, just side note, Dawn and I can talk about this. Did you know there are some really complicated rules, specifically in Tennessee, and it varies county by county, on who can help you register to vote and how you can register to vote. And so it is just the disenfranchisement for any of our audience who's up in Chicago thinking that, like, oh yeah, it's easy, I just register and then I go to the church down the street and vote and it's fine. Like, that is not what this situation is. So when we talk about equity, when we talk about making things equitable for communities and neighbors, that's what we mean. So
You can check the registration by going to the equityalliance.org/vote and seeing your polling location and checking your registration and register to vote for, well, actually it might be not the time frame, but equityalliance.org/vote.
And we can drop that in the show notes too.
Yes, we will drop that in the show notes. And I always tell people voting is a multi-part process. It's getting registered. It's making your voting plan. It's making sure you know where your polling location is, checking to make sure you haven't been purged from the rolls. A lot of people think it's just as easy as showing up to vote. And I'm like, no. You got to think of it as a multi-step process that they're going to make as confusing as possible, because they want to silence us, but we won't be silenced. Thankful to organizations like yours and all of the work that you are doing. It's inspiring, and hopefully people are seeing that no one is giving up. I think people are so scattered right now, and there's so much chaos that they feel like, oh, maybe it's time to disengage, and you are showing that no, it's time to engage more. So I appreciate you taking the time on your day off of walking to share more about what you're doing, and would love later in the March to maybe have a reunion and hear back on how it went. And maybe we can get people to raise money for pedicures for everybody, because your toes is going to be paying the price.
Well, thank you both so much. Thank you. Hopefully I'll get to see you tonight.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely see you out there.
Right.
And they're going to go hop on with some of our other content creator friends.
Bye, y'all.
So catch them on the internet. Hi.
Lauren, I know you've only slept a couple of hours a night for the last several nights, but you can't tell you're energized. What is energizing you right now?
What is energizing me? Gosh, friend, I'm gonna start crying. Um, it's either the exhaustion or it's just so inspiring to see so many people coming together, and we all have this shared initiative and shared goal of uplifting communities in the different ways. And I think I'm exhausted and I have way too much on my plate, which we talked about last night, and we have a new strategy moving forward. And at the same time, I have never personally or professionally felt so aligned and fulfilled. And so there's that piece of it, but the bigger part of it is just being in community with so many incredible people who are all motivated toward the same goal, the same intention of uplifting and supporting communities around us. And and to feel so welcomed too. I don't feel like I'm coming into spaces as like, yes, I'm an outsider, but I think that there's a healthy dose of skepticism. And there have been a lot of conversations where we've had to talk through, why are we here? What's the intention? Is this a grift? Are we highlighting the right things? Does the reason align with the work that's being done? So we've had all of those conversations, and then to get to this point where we're actually in motion with it, and to see that there's trust and there's camaraderie, and it feels like one of those catalyst moments where I don't know that anybody who is involved in this project is going to be the same on the other side, and it feels like really an honor to be a part of it.
I absolutely love this for you and for everyone who has the opportunity to have those hard conversations, because that's the part that often gets overlooked. And
Yeah.
the fact that you have always been so willing to engage is what I think is inspiring to other white women who can look and say, oh, this is actually how it's done. And we need more of that. As we can see from the last election, we need more people willing to engage in those hard conversations. And I applaud you for the continued work. So because emotions are high, and we have to know what to do with all of this rage that we feel. And I often tell my friends, hey, like, why don't you, in addition to, yeah, I get it, you're working full time in marketing, et cetera, and you're busy, but I bet you if you take a little bit of time and work towards the common goal of making sure that the US is an equitable place for everybody, you will be happier. There is
Yes.
so much joy in turning your anger into fuel to make everyone's lives better, including your own. And so with that said, I'd love to segue if he is
Don is here.
Don's here.
Yes.
Perfect.
Don's here. I'm just going to scooch a chair. It's going to be a little loud. Let's just get our chairs coordinated here.
Our first time meeting in person, angry male vet. I feel weird calling you angry male vet.
Because he's like the nicest person ever.
You can call me angry. It's okay. We're sharing a moment.
Welcome to America. You got this with a question mark. For people who don't follow you or don't know who you are and what you're all about, can you just give a quick intro to how you got involved with content creation and social media and political engagement?
Yeah, so I'm a retired 23-year combat veteran. I served 23 years, half enlisted, half officer. And I thought my job was done. My oath was to protect and to support and defend the Constitution, which started off with we, the people. And I thought after my 23 years was done, that was over. And I wasn't aware of a lot of things, or I probably wouldn't have thought that way. But as this round of fascism came upon us in a very obtuse and obvious way with Donald Trump, I realized my job wasn't done and I needed to start raising my voice. I think as a white male, especially a white male veteran, I need to be the loudest voice in the room to protect we, the people, and that is all of us. across the spectrum. And I realized I needed to do something about it. And so I started fact checking Trump in his first term, throwing data, throwing research videos at people just to try to get them out of that hole of misinformation. And I took a little bit of a break when Biden came into office because I didn't have to worry about what a president was tweeting in the middle of the night. And so I took a little bit of a sanity break. And then when round two came back, I said, I need to do this and I need to do this on a bigger scale. So I really just started to, get on TikTok. I just recently got back on the Meta platforms and Substack, wherever I could, to just show people that the white, semi-bearded combat veteran male face that could have been plucked out of J6 was against every single thing that was happening with what I see as a current fascist oligarchic government.
And which platform is your primary platform? I see that we're running the Instagram handle, but your TikTok handle is different, right?
So TikTok, I'm on, I'm Angry Male Vet. And then when I jumped over to Meta a couple months ago, somebody had already snaked that. So I'm the real Angry Male Vet there. So between those two, you can usually find me on most platforms.
Perfect. And I would like to say, just as being on the ground with him, whenever I'm having a moment and I feel like I'm about to crumble, and because organizing something like this, it's logistics, it's where's everybody sleeping, do we have all of the supplies that we need, but it's also conversations with Equity Alliance and making sure that that we are accountable for how we enter these communities, and then it's also communicating the route that we're taking to the folks who want to support us as we move through. And then also sometimes I'm driving a minivan and bringing people water, and then I need to go get ice, but then like this phone call is blowing up. So like every day has been like this, and without fail, anytime I feel like I'm about to crumble, somehow he's clocking it and he's like, hey, what do you need? Do you need, you good? Are you okay? I know that you've got a lot. We also need to do this too, but it's okay. Everything's gonna be fine. And I find his presence so just calming and supportive. And so I just wanted to give you a little shout out. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, but highlighting the importance of having support is so important, and that is a part of community building and being on the ground. And as a combat veteran, you know how important logistics are when there is seemingly chaos and constant variable shifting, and not everybody is able to shift so quickly without having maybe emotions take over. And so I love that you're on the ground to support those efforts. But then to also help shift the narrative, because I don't think we're going to get anywhere if we are in a space where, for example, I know whenever I see a white male who looks like you, my first thought is this person safe?
Yeah.
Is this person a danger to me? Do I need to check what tattoos they have? And
Right.
so can you talk about what that work, because you do that work online, but now you're on the ground in the South, you're surrounded by people who may be looking at you and going, are you a safe person? What
Sure.
can you share with everybody that might be helpful for other white men who want to get involved, but don't know how, or don't feel like it's their place?
Yeah, no, I think it's important. Just find organizations local to you, find communities local to you where you can show your face and show your presence and show people that it is not a monolith. White males are not this massive support structure. They're a giant support structure for Trump and the Republican Party, what's going on. They have their base there, but it is not all encompassing. And I even believe that it's starting to fracture in a lot of ways too. Some white males, they don't know what to do, and they maybe get online, maybe talk about things, maybe share some things, but the public presence of white males, especially veterans, getting out in front of these things and being, a center point of these efforts that are working to protect and support all of us, we the people, I think is vital. During the march, I am out there in fatigues. I am out there in my uniform for the most part, basically walking through the streets and showing these people that are driving by that, wait, what the heck is that guy doing? And maybe I should reconsider my thoughts on white male veterans and who they're supporting, because there's a whole hell of a lot more of us than people realize. We just need to get louder, and we need to be at the front of these things, and the front of supporting organizations like Equity Alliance NAACP Nashville, Stand Up Nashville, all these organizations who are already doing this incredible work in all of these spaces throughout the South. Me as a white male, and I recommend any white male, go focus on them, spotlight them, lift them up, support them, because they've been fighting this forever. And the least we can do is lend our face, our presence, our support to those organizations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say the platform itself is so huge because, and I'm sure you've seen this, even in fundraising, it's so much easier for a organization that's fronted by a white man to get funding, even from the left, than it is for some of these organizations that are really doing so much of the groundwork and know how to do it. Like they have the roadmap, but they don't have the funds and the access.
Right. Right. And it's disappointing. It really is disappointing. But I think the more that we do it as white males and we show people that, we are protective, we are supportive. It's not even protective. It's just supportive of our neighbors, the people that live around us all the time, our friends, family, neighbors, and supportive of what they're trying to do and what they're trying to push forward as communities and organizations. I think that's the key. And I think that should be the driver for what we are attempting to do. Because again, all of these organizations are, giantly, they're huge organizations. They're completely self-independent, but they need our help as white males to spotlight and highlight them on what's going on and to just lend support to them and let them, take the lead. But we have to be a part of it. We can't just hope that things are going to be okay without our support. It's got to be a we the people thing, and it's got to be all of us, and we just got to keep reminding people of that.
I love that.
Absolutely. Lauren, listening to the two of you and listening to the women from the Equity Alliance, I see that in many ways you're everything that MAGA fears. Multiracial, cohesive, working together, multi-generational in ways. What is it like to try to reach the people who are wondering why are you going down to why are you going down to Memphis? Why are you doing that? You could be at brunch, you could be at yoga, you could be at
I absolutely. I mean, I'm getting those questions from my friends. I was deep in this work, prepping on a girls' trip even, and they know me well enough to know that when there's a project that I can use my skill set and my passion to help, that I'm going to throw myself into it all the way. And so, but like more peripherally, I think, yeah, girl, you could be at brunch, you could be at a concert, you could be it's all the time. It is a constant thing that I think I just have to keep pushing against that narrative of that this is the easy way and you should just take that path and be happy with it. Because if people like me can continue to say, yeah, we can go to brunch, like I'm gonna have a mimosa, but I'm also gonna go down to Nashville and I'm gonna go into the middle of Georgia and I'm gonna do these things that feel hard and they feel uncomfortable and it feels, but you know what's harder and more uncomfortable is living under this kind of oppressive environment and having this generational harm that continues to repeat. And if we don't, a lot of my friends like to talk about generational trauma and how we're cycle breakers and we're stopping the trauma from continuing down to our kids, the trauma that our parents inherited from their parents and the way that those cycles repeat. That's exactly the work that we're doing. We're just doing it on a larger scale. It's not about me and my family and my generational trauma. It's about us as a whole. And that generational trauma is not going to stop for our neighbors and communities who are the ones being harmed unless folks like us decide that we need to play a part in stopping that harm too. Because frankly, we're the ones who generationally have caused the harm. Like my ancestors caused the harm, and I sometimes cause the harm, and I need to be willing to understand when that happens and take accountability and then change and move forward. So I understand why people just want to go to brunch. I get it, because it is so much easier to
Shit,
just go
I want to go to
brunch.
brunch. Who doesn't want to go to
Right?
brunch? I love bacon.
I get
Like,
it.
you don't think I want to be sitting around drinking a mimosa, having scrambled eggs on toast? Of course I do.
Of course. But I want everybody to be able to go to brunch. I don't want to go to brunch and know that, like, not everybody can. Not everybody can take the time out of their day to slow down and have a moment. And that's where I think joy as resistance comes into play. People who are regularly able to go to brunch shouldn't be using joy as resistance as, like, you need to also be doing the work. Like resistance isn't just you going to brunch. But I I think too, in this conversation, I just think it needs to, like Don said, like, we need to be louder, and also I think it needs to be accessible. Not everybody's going to be able to drop what they're doing and go take 36 days out of their life so that they can be a part of this kind of work on the ground. I
As many
understand that.
destination weddings that people go to, I'm sure they can take 2 to 3 days to support something that isn't just for everybody else, because I do hear this a lot, like, oh, we're helping marginalized communities or vulnerable communities, but the climate crisis is affecting everybody.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's unnecessary war in Iran is affecting everybody. All of these issues that are coming to a head affect somebody, whether they're a white male living in upper, east side Manhattan, and so in conversation with men, Don, are they starting to get it? Are they starting to see some of the people coming around maybe who before didn't see how this was all going to affect them?
Yeah, I think so. I think that white men usually live in a space of comfort where, they're very privileged and a lot of these things do not affect them. And then when, their minds are opened a little bit and the awareness expands, they go like, wait a minute. Yeah, climate does affect me and I do care about my kids and I want them to have a better life. And there is this kind of growing wealth inequality where, my parents made more than I am making. And, now I got to worry about my kids, making as much as I am making when prices continue to skyrocket. And so these things are starting to affect them, even as white males who kind of lived in a cocoon. And I think their eyes are starting to open up to things. And then when you see such obtuse events happening, like people being executed in the streets, an unnecessary war, going against Iran that was driven by Netanyahu and Israel for no reason, despite all the reservations of military senior leadership, intelligence senior leadership saying, don't do this. I think people start to wonder, like, hey, those are my kids that are going to war. And who are they going to war for? When the president and senators are saying, we're making a ton of money, they start to ask those questions and go like, maybe these people who promised me they were going to make everything better, maybe they're not really telling me the truth. And maybe that was all a lie. And they're starting to ask those questions. So I think it comes down to leadership. And when we get into voter registration and telling people to vote, it is about leadership and who we put into position as an elected representative to represent us, not to represent an oil company, gas company, a defense contractor, not to represent, the top 1%. What are they doing? Not what they're saying. What are they doing every day to represent us, my family, my kids' future, all of those things? And that's the importance of getting registered to vote and getting your friends and neighbors to register to vote and, kind of turning the tide against these people that seem to be run by the top 1% and aren't really doing a hell of a lot for us.
Yeah, I was going to say the cognitive dissonance is real and actions are speaking so loud. It doesn't matter what Donald Trump says anymore, though now he says openly that he doesn't care about affordability I can't remember what the last thing he was. He didn't care about measles is up. He doesn't care about the cyclospora outbreak.
Just doesn't care.
Just doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that people are starting to see that. And it's so important that people that look like you, that look like Lauren, are there to say, and who you're not supposed to be angry at about this? Immigrants. It's not immigrants that did this. It's not trans kids that did
trans
this.
kids.
Yeah.
None of that. It is these elite, wealthy property CEO owners who are making it impossible to be able to afford a single family home, to afford healthcare, to afford anything that actually is necessary to live out the American dream. So thank goodness that you have the energy to do what you're doing after having served the country for so long. Grateful.
The oath never expires, Maya. The oath never expires.
That's well
And-
said.
To that end, we've got two more friends who would like to jump in and join the conversation. So, and Don is going to be doing some content with more people on the ground here. So go check out his accounts because he's going to be having some conversations too.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for what you're doing.
It's great to meet you, Don. Thank you.
All right, let me do the little chair shuffle again.
It's fun. I feel like it's like musical chairs, and I can.
It is like musical
I was like,
chairs.
who's the surprise guest next? Who's
It is.
next?
We have to get real cozy in here. All right, I'm gonna squeeze in. All right. Okay, so we can see that little frame. We gotta kind of get.
Hi.
All right, come on in. Okay, so this is my friend Maya.
Hi, Maya.
Hi.
I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves and talk about your organizations and the work that you're doing. We're just so thrilled that you're here and honored to be able to be a part of it.
Awesome. I just saw some of my teammates on here, so I'm gonna let Shani start off.
Okay, yeah, I'm Shani Glapion, and I'm an organizer for Stand Up Nashville. We're here, a local organization, in short, just making sure that public resources are used for public good. We want to make sure the dollars are spent benefiting the community and not corporations.
And I am Antricia Gordon, an organizer and the deputy director of the Equity Alliance. We are a Black-led, Black-founded, multi-entity network building power, political, civic, and economic power across the state of Tennessee.
So I'm so glad that both of you are here because especially what you mentioned about corporations and making sure that that public goods are for the people, not for corporations. What's going on with everything with because it feels like the data centers, that's something that has been unifying among people against the corporations. Where are things at with that?
So we just helped get some amendments added to our local data center bill. We couldn't get it as restrictive as we wanted because we also are on a time crunch. They're trying to build a data center right next to the zoo. They're trying to build it on Fisk University campus. And so that's very intrusive areas. These are very community-driven areas, and we don't want that. And what we've seen is people show up. Now, I'm gonna keep it 100. People always show up for the animals more than Black people, but you know,
they're like, you can't do this to the zoo animals.
But you know, we're gonna ride that wave. We understand how to utilize situations that benefit our community as well. So we push for stronger legislation, trying to keep these out of our communities and at least into industrial areas right now. But we know that historically industrial areas capture the Black, brown, and working class populations as well. So we needed to get it passed to help the data center at the zoo. The Fisk data center is just a concept right now, but we are seeing the community come together and across party lines. You know, that has been a unifying front, and we're trying to utilize that to, you know, kind of pull back the veil on all of the other nefarious behavior that happens around the data centers.
Right. Well, because that's just one example of something. And it shows it's like, okay, it's like the cockroach situation, right? It's like you see one, there's a bunch in the wall. So it's like, if they're screwing us over here, you got to know they're screwing us over in many other ways, right? Yeah. And so with the data center stuff, it's been fascinating to me because Trump seems to think that people love them and want them everywhere. And I love that people are getting more active around stopping them. Do you think moving into the midterms, is that something that including young people are coming to, or is this more established older families who are people who might already be voting? I'm trying to figure out how to activate that youth vote. And when you mentioned Fisk University, I was like, okay, maybe this is a way to get the kids involved as well.
Yeah, I think this is something that will activate the youth. The Equity Alliance in Memphis have been working hard with organizations in that area, and it's very college-driven, youth-focused. And so here we are working with the Fisk alumni because they made the announcement after school ended. But school is on the, is about to start back up. So the conversations, we're going to bring those to the students. They see everything. They see how the corporations are buying in, and the kids they don't want it. They don't like it. So with a little bit of education, that's what Stand Up Nashville does a lot of. We are informing the community of what's going on. We're not trying to tell you what is good, but we're trying to, highlight everything so you can make that decision. And people are deciding that they don't want these in their community environmentally first, but so then we're trying to, kind of ease them into like, hey, this is actually why they're popping up. We know we don't want them here, but do you understand the why? And then that gets into that, corporate structure there and taking over the government of what they're doing.
I have a question on this end because it's not the data center thing, but the similar kind of pace of awareness that people have around flock cameras. That's, I think.
They got me not even wanting to
Nashville
leave my
has
house.
been-
Like, I don't want to go to the US right now. You guys don't know this. I'm not in the US right now. And I'm like, I'm ready to have like a full mask on, hat, hoodie, gloves. I was like, you will not get my face. You will not get my fingerprints. You will get nothing from me.
Yeah. I have a lot of team members. I mean, not team members. I have a team member that's heavily involved in it, but a lot of community organizers I'm in relationship with that are really working on the flock. We have the flock cameras, I want to say that, but we have in Nashville fought back for it for about 4 or 5 years now. And I want to say we are like the largest metropolitan city of our size that doesn't have flock cameras.
Okay.
And that's because we don't let up. And, we're really on them every time, every budget season, they try to come into view and we just squash it down. And luckily we have a decent city council that works with us.
That should be the model that people start to use. I know that there's an initiative to try to get them taken down in Chicago. But I was mapping some of my routes and I can get out of my neighborhood without a flock camera, but I can't get much further. Once I'm out, there's not a whole lot of places I can go.
Yeah. And it's like, why do you want this? Why do you want to surveil us? What are you trying to get, and
well, and also they're not very accurate, especially when it comes to Black and brown faces. So we know that they're going to be used for reasons that they shouldn't be used, and they're going to be used incorrectly. And so it's something that hurts all of us. With Equity Alliance, I was saying to Dawn earlier, and to you as well, Lauren, is that these organizations and Stand Up as well, they do have the roadmap, right? You do have the roadmap, maybe not necessarily as many resources coming in as these larger organizations. What is a way that people who are watching can support almost helping to take that roadmap that you had to defeat flock cameras, taking that roadmap that you have to defeat these data centers? What can people give or donate to be able to help maybe put together a manual, a playbook that can be templated to other cities and adapted to other cities?
We always ask for your time, your talent, and your treasure. And so figure out what you can offer to these organizations that aligns with the needs of the people that we're supporting, and that we're fighting for and that we're building power for. So money is always good. Black organizations especially are the least funded historically. And so money always helps. Your time helps also, though, if you can come volunteer, and not necessarily just on the ground, but if you can volunteer your talent. So if you have the ability, the skills, the knowledge to help us put something together that can allow us to educate the community on all of the things that are happening in our communities, that also is helpful for our organizations as well.
I love that, especially the piece about bringing the talent that one has, because a lot of people don't realize that what they take for granted as knowledge is something that can be very helpful, even if it's explaining how AI works and how that plays into why there's so many data centers, and helping put that in language that kids can understand, that older people can understand. I think I just saw a interview, I think it was with Representative Clyburn, I'm not sure, who he just found out about ChatGPT, and I was like,
no.
I was like, who didn't tell you about this before?
Yes.
Somebody on his team needs to.
I think everybody has a role to play in this movement. A lot of times the community at large is counting on organizations like Up Nashville and the Equity Alliance and many other organizations that are doing this work every day to do it all, to get out the word, to educate people, to mobilize people and organize people, when really it takes a village. Like, everybody has to be a part of this movement, be a guardian of democracy and not just a spectator. And so if we have more people to plug in, but plug in a way that aligns, right? Like, you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to be in the streets, but you can donate money. So yeah, just figure out like what your role in the movement is and do that, and don't try to do everything.
Can I come back to what you just said? I loved it. You said to not be a spectator.
Yeah.
I just think there are so many people right now
Just watching and doing nothing.
Yeah, and going to brunch.
Yep.
They're going to brunch.
I mean, I like
See,
to do
maybe in this,
I mean, we'll take mimosas if you want to send them to us right now. But no, I think that there are too many people who don't. They are used to democracy working for them, and so they don't think that they need to do anything to help it continue to work for not just them but for everyone. And we are so siloed, and we are so focused on our own little ecosystems that we forget that we're all part of the same ecosystem, and we're all connected, and it takes all of us working together and building coalitions, and not, I don't know, I just feel like we're leaving people behind over and over and over because we're too busy with brunch. So
yeah, it should be like, you can't have your dessert until you have your meat and potatoes. You don't get to have your brunch until you do something for your community, until you do something for civic engagement, for your democracy, until you're registered to vote. I want every brunch restaurant that's aligned with the cause should check people's voter registration cards before you're allowed to sit down to eat. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm here for it.
There's this thing called relational organizing.
Yes.
Relational organizing is making sure that the people you touch that's in your phone, your folks, are going out and doing the work, or that they are aware. So you don't have to get out and, like Antricia said, be in the streets. Send a couple text messages. You know what's going on. Make sure your people are aware. If y'all are at brunch, take a moment and just say, hey, voting is coming up. Let's go vote first and then go to brunch. How can you impact your immediate community, your friends and family? And if everybody just started there, we'd be a lot further. You don't have to jump off the porch and come do what I'm doing and trying to get all these people together and have a rally or a forum or whatever. Just send the text messages, make the calls, make sure your people are straight.
Yep.
I almost wonder if there's something that we could do, like if we could create. My head is turning into like a brunch group text where like you say like, hey, we're going out to brunch, and then like maybe we could facilitate some sort of like invite me to brunch. Like, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna be like, hey, okay, everybody, we're registered, we're good. Any questions? And all right, okay, mimosas.
I just found out about shortcuts on the iPhone. I didn't know it exists. You can make it so that if somebody texts you the word and it includes the word brunch, that it automatically texts them back something that is just like, not till you do this, 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 and this, or whatever. I was like, oh my God, look at all these shortcuts.
Oh.
So maybe, because this woman who I follow, she uses it so she doesn't have to nag her kids about doing their chores. It's all automated through their phones. And so if they try to do something, like it'll send them a text message that's like, oh, did you complete your chores? If not, the consequence is you're, lose the internet at 8:30. And I'm like, okay, shortcuts to democracy. We're gonna figure this out. We're figuring it out. All right, because I'm sick. Honestly, I'm sick of us almost seemingly having to make the same mistake over and over again as a society, and everybody's saying the same thing. It's community, and we know that to be true. And since that's true, we've got to engage in that way. And so I'm so happy that we were able to talk with both of you today, because truly people need to see it. People need to see what it looks like, the joy in coming together with strangers to work towards a common cause. Because like you guys didn't know each other before, right, Lauren? You didn't know.
Nope. I mispronounced Antricia's name the other night. Like,
Look, in 2 days you got it.
And that's how progress
I
works.
immediately fixed it, but
And now she's stuck with us, right? Like, that's how it happens that easily and quickly.
and I think that like there's just to go back to what we were talking about, like the trust building is so absolutely important, and remembering that we're on this march, this 1,000 miles to Memphis, we're coming into your home. Like this is your home, and so we're here to help and to support and to bring national eyes to the work that you're doing, and first do no harm. And I think that that's something that we need to really keep in mind as we move forward on this journey, and people who do initiatives like this afterwards, because this will not be the last national civic engagement movement. And just a little plug for the organization that I'm starting, the Good Work Collective, is intentionally focused on connecting civic engagement movements on a national level with local community-led initiatives and leaders to make sure that harm doesn't happen, to make sure that that these coalitions have open lines of communication, and that we're working together for infrastructure, for resources, and volunteer matching. So that I think is a space that I thought might be needed through my Minneapolis mutual aid work with my colleague Marika Moss, and then now that I'm seeing it in practice, I see really, yes, it's very much needed. So I think these coalitions are just so important, and we can multitask. We can go to brunch, and we can
Go to brunch and plan.
Lauren.
This episode is now called Brunch.
Right.
Yeah, we need to
Somebody
get
might be hungry. You know?
She's hungry. That's what I'm saying. I was like, I think Lauren's hungry. Somebody get her a Go-Gurt or something.
True, I haven't eaten yet today, but I've had 2 cups of coffee and a beta blocker.
Okay. Get her a Go-Gurt. Get her a Go-Gurt. Y'all are great. This brings me joy. I'm headed this week to London to talk about authoritarianism and what's happening in America and how they can learn from that in the work that they're doing, because the work is local and it's community, but it's also global, because the people who are trying to take our rights away are well funded and they're trying to take them away everywhere, and they're using the same playbook. And so I'm taking what I've learned from having interviewed all of these experts on authoritarianism that write these books that become bestsellers, but then nobody seems to apply a lot of the knowledge, to try to shed light on a little bit of that and have some fun while doing it. So I hope everybody watching sees that you can do the work and still have fun, because we all do. And then we're all exhausted and have to eat brunch. So, so thank you for taking time without having had your breakfast.
If you're local to this area, we have an event tonight in Murfreesboro, and it starts at 5 p.m. We're going to be helping folks get registered, check to see if they're registered, and we're building the plane as we're flying it. So the run of show is still like my text messages. Lord only knows what's happening with my notifications while I'm sitting here. So we are hopefully going to have some really incredible speakers. both of these folks are invited to join and be part of that programming. And I would love for more organizations to be welcomed in as we go along the journey. And then it'll be a town hall question and answer style, because I think there are a lot of questions that people have. So, so hopefully you'll see these two beautiful faces throughout our content and our journey as we go. And it's just been, I mean, Maya, you asked me earlier, like personally, what this has been like, and I just feel like it's the honor of a lifetime to be on this journey and to be connecting with so many incredible humans. It just feels like an honor, and I want to do right by that honor.
So far, so good.
Thank you, Laura.
They'll keep you honest. I know this. I know this already.
I'm listening and learning.
Love it, love it. All right, well, go get some food, some well-deserved food, and hopefully some rest before the event tonight. And thank you so much for joining. And ladies, of course, you are welcome back anytime, especially towards the end of the march, because I want to hear how everything went after the end of 1,000 miles, because I want to be able to say, not America, you got this, with a question mark. I want to say, America, you got this, with an exclamation point. That's the goal.
Yes.
America, you got this.
Thank you, Maya. Pleasure.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fred.
Bye.